This one drops in. First hit of the year. He drives one. Deep left field. That goes Upton. Back near the wall. It's out of here. Touchdown! Oh, Kenyon Drake. A miracle.
Welcome to Sports Talk.
Welcome to Sports Talk. I'm Bob.
And I'm Amit.
And today we're going to talk about a couple different things. First and foremost, Russell Wilson, quarterback.
Yes, he signed a $140 million contract for 4 years.
4 years for $140 million.
So I'll talk about that later. We're also going to count the NFL playoffs.
NBA playoffs.
NBA playoffs, I'm sorry. And the NFL draft. We're not going to get into details there. We're just going to...
Just summarize.
Yes,
Just
some of the most important picks and how was it in general. So let's start with Russell Wilson.
Okay, $140 million. I mean, for 4 years. That's, and who knows how much he's making from, like, endorsements. That's insane. What do you think? Is he worth it?
See, this is the thing.
I mean, obviously...
The Seahawks need him. They need him.
But could they get better players for $140 million?
Exactly like...
But the thing is, these are professionals.
And
somebody in the organization thinks that he is worth it.
Yes, this is the thing. Maybe he's worth $140 million for 6 years.
$140 million! I mean, that could buy so many things.
Like, for 6 years, it's fine because the Seahawks really need him. But 4 years, when you're 30, so he's not in his prime, $140 million.
When is a quarterback no longer in his prime, you think?
It depends on each player.
I mean, maybe not in his physical prime, but in terms of actually, knowing how to read a defense and call plays.
Yes. It's like 25.
I mean, maybe like
in your fourth, fifth.
So think about like Tom Brady when he was 30. He's he's still playing, still winning Super Bowls. But he was 30. That was almost 10 years ago.
Yes.
He's 30 years old. He's still physically fit.
Yes.
But he's been playing for a couple years and has that experience.
Yes.
The leadership role and everything else.
Russell Wilson, I got to give it to him. He's a great leader.
Is he?
He's a very good leader. And they say, I know him, that he's a very good father, that he dedicates a lot of time to his kids. And yes.
Still, but of course, for him, this is the last hurrah. I mean, after his contract expires, he'll be 34. Yeah, he could sign with another team for a little while, but unless you're Tom Brady or, you're pretty much on the downside of your career. So, kind of like LeBron in the NBA is.
Yeah, I get why the Seahawks are signing him. They need him, but for $140 million.
So, what happens if he gets hurt?
Exactly.
He gets hurt, and then at the beginning of the season, and then all that money down the drain.
Yeah.
So, I guess it's just they're willing to take that chance.
Yes, they're doing it.
In terms of the NBA playoffs, my Spurs exited early on, sadly enough. And I was hoping the Rockets would overtake the Warriors. I don't mind the Warriors, but I wanted some fresh blood. But
we don't hate the Warriors. We just
want James Harden and his beard to be in the NBA playoffs. But being down 2-0, I don't think Houston's going to come back. It is possible, but not super likely. And then, the Bucks, I thought they were looking good. And then I guess the series is tied with Boston. But man, I think it was the first game against Boston. The Bucks were just awful.
Yes.
But of course they won game 2, so I don't know. But
I think the Celtics, they're a great team. Lately they've been like a top 5 or even a top 3 team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they deserve going to the finals.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go Warriors and...
Who do you think is going to play in the Eastern Conference Finals? You think it's going to be Boston and...
I think it's going to be Boston and the 76ers.
Boston and Philadelphia. Be kind of interesting. 2 East Coast, not East Coast, but 2 northern cities, colonial cities too. Lots of. But I was kind of hoping Toronto would win. First time seeing some Canadian blood in the mix, kind of mixing it up. But it seems like, well, it's not the Cavs. Poor LeBron.
Yeah.
Poor LeBron. Neither the Cavs nor the Lakers are in this. So I guess maybe the Warriors and the Celtics. It could be worse, but
I want the Celtics to win just to change a little bit.
Yeah, well, you never know though. Maybe Denver or Portland will knock out the Warriors.
Yes, you're right.
I mean, Denver was second in the Western Conference.
You're right.
So, but Denver struggled to eliminate the Spurs. It came down into the tail end of the
They went to a 7th game.
They went to 7 games.
Yes.
But wait, is this the first round?
No, this was the second round.
No, but the Spurs and the Nuggets, that was the first round of the Western Conference playoffs, wasn't it?
No, I think it's the second.
Maybe it was second because let's just check for a minute.
Yes.
No, it was the first.
Oh, it was the first one.
Yeah, but it did go to 7 games. Because I remember back when I was younger, the first round was 5 games.
Uh-huh.
I always thought 7 games, the playoff. That's why the playoffs go forever.
Well, in baseball, the divisional round, it's 5 games, I think.
I think 5 games is good for anybody.
Yes, for the divisional round, but then when you go to the conference championship, and obviously the final, the Super Bowl, the MLB World Series, I think it's 7 games. It's good because to make it longer,
Yeah, but to have 7 games in the first round of the playoffs should just be
that's a lot.
Let's get them over with. I always thought, what would it be if just it was 3 games? It was 3 games. Bam, 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 and bam, and
that would be the games would be. I think they would be more fun.
Yeah.
But
it would be 5. NBA Finals is the best of 5.
Yes, but I think everybody wants to make them longer because the best games of the whole season. So.
And there is more money to be made.
Yeah.
All right, so real fast, let's talk about the NFL draft.
So we're not gonna get into details here. I think it was a very weighted draft. People were really they really wanted draft to happen because there were a lot of good players here.
Mm-hmm.
So something that I don't think the Cardinals made a right move drafting Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
He's great. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a little bit overrated, but he's still good. But you have Josh Rosen that it's also great, and so a first overall when you don't actually need a quarterback that much because you got Josh Rosen.
Mm-hmm.
That they drafted him the draft before this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm now Dolphins fans are happy because they traded.
Man, when's the last time the Dolphins were good? I remember back in the 80s.
I think I wasn't.
I remember Dan Marino back in the 80s, but when was the last time the Dolphins were? I mean,
I don't know.
Well, I guess with drafts, time will tell.
Yes.
There are some drafts where it was that was a great pick. I could see a long future for this player in this franchise. And other ones where they're that was the worst one, and then a complete flip flop. The good player gets hurt, the bad player does surprisingly well, or is a good fit into the team.
Well, that happened to Tony Romo.
Yeah.
Even Tom Brady. So
what was Tom Brady in the draft? What number was he?
I'm not sure.
Was he number 1 or he wasn't number 1?
I don't know. No, I'm not sure about that one. But now I'm a Cowboys fan.
Yes, I've been told.
Redskins and Giants, both of them drafted a quarterback in the first round.
Huh?
So I think the quarterback Giants drafted, his name is Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
It wasn't the right move. He's a good quarterback, but they were better quarterbacks out there than that guy. And
they must have had their reasons.
Yes,
though, right?
but the team future.
Yeah.
It's in that guy because Eli's done. They got to move on from
You never say never, Amit. Never say never. Believe in comebacks.
Well,
Believe in unicorns and NFL comebacks.
But one day he's going to be done.
No, he's done.
So, yeah. So, I think that's a risky move by the Giants, drafting a quarterback that you don't know how he's going to turn out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Redskins also drafted a quarterback because if you remember last season, Alex Smith, the great quarterback, got hurt, and who knows if he's going to play again football. He broke his leg. And they drafted Dwayne Haskins. I think that was the quarterback they needed. He's
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Has there ever been an NFL player from Costa Rica?
No.
No? Not yet is what you're supposed to say. No, Bob. Not yet.
I don't know. There's a football league in Costa Rica, to be honest.
There are some leagues. Like amateur. I wonder how many countries are have been represented by the NFL.
I don't know.
There has to be a couple European countries and maybe a guy from Australia who's a kicker. Some soccer players have probably switched over to become kickers, or at least, or maybe rugby people. Interesting.
So,
I wonder if Latin America. Do you think Latin America has ever produced one NFL player? When I say Latin America, I mean not like he was born in Mexico, but then moved to the U.S. when he was 2. Like somebody born and raised in Latin America, not like. This sounds like we need further investigation.
Yes, there's maybe a Mexican player that has played in the NFL, but I'm not sure about that. So, Dwayne Haskins, I think it was the right move by the Redskins. They needed a quarterback, and they're playing it safe there because he's going to be okay. Like, he's not horrible, and you're sure about that. Not like Daniel Jones, you know how he's going to turn out. But Dwayne Haskins, he's a good passer. He doesn't run the ball that much, but when he needs to, he does it. Mm-hmm. So, he's a pretty decent quarterback, if you ask me. So, it's the right move by the Redskins, something I don't like because, harder for the Cowboys.
You know what we're going to do at the end of next season? We're going to listen. We're going to listen to this podcast and be like, okay, Meek, there you were kind of right. There you were totally off. Though actually, really, we should probably listen to the podcast like in 2 or 3 years to see if things. One season, it's really early to tell.
Also, the Seahawks drafted a wide receiver, so that's going to help Russell Wilson. Yeah.
You know what? What we can do is revisit Russell Wilson in a year and be like, hey, Seattle, you spent, I don't know what 140 is divided by 4.
Yes.
Over $35 million on this guy. Was this season worth it? I mean, you'd have to win the Super Bowl for me to justify 135.
He has won a Super Bowl.
He has or hasn't?
Has won a Super Bowl.
Did Seattle win the Super Bowl?
Yes, against Denver. Oh, I don't remember that game. It was against.
That was where the first snap of the Broncos went over the guy's head. I was like, oh great, this is the way this game's going to turn out. All right, join us next week for more sports talk. I'm Bob.
I'm Amit.
Take it easy, guys.